Okay. I think we're live. So I don't know if anyone can hear me yet. Uh, Jay, can you hear me in there? Can you hear me or see me or anything?
Oh. I didn't know you were starting a new one.
Yeah. I think it froze again though. Can you hear me? Can you see me? I know you can hear me, R. Jones. Can you see me? That's the question. I don't know. It's frozen on my screen, so you can hear me. Gosh, I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know why. Life of an RVer, I guess. Okay, there we go. There we go. There. Okay. Hopefully people can see me. All right. But the main thing is being able to hear me, right? Okay, so Pamela, you asked, do you walk 6 miles every day? And yes, I walk 6 miles every day. Even on Sunday, which is my cheat day, my break from fasting, if you will, that I still walk 6 miles every day. I'm really, really consistent with that. I think in the past year I've had like 2 days off. So it's really important to me to stay really consistent with walking. I feel really good when I walk 6 miles. It's like if I don't do my miles for whatever reason, I get like grumpy, I guess is the best way to explain it. I really feel good when I walk. I mean, like I walked on Thanksgiving, for example, just because I enjoy it. It just makes me feel good. So there we go. Let's see. Oh, Darlene, I didn't know you grew up on a 100-acre farm. I wonder, what did you have on that farm, if you don't mind sharing that. But, yeah, so Trina, you said, Trina, you let your kids kind of pick their times, and they really will kind of self-regulate, I think. And I think that's much better. I've been trying to really remember that, like, with my kids, like they know when they're hungry, like they'll eat. So I always, I mean, if they're being, ornery or something, I'll be like, wait, are you hungry right now? Like, do you need to eat? Because sometimes they will, have something they're excited about and they'll, skip lunch or something. So anyway, okay. So Clarissa, you really overdid it today, and you're trying not to beat yourself up too badly. That is something we should talk about. Not beating yourself up. So important. It's one of those things, along with making it easy on yourself, not beating yourself up, because what good does it do? No good at all, right? And there are a couple of different ways that I like to try to look at these things because paying attention to your inner dialogue, right? You're already understanding that you're beating yourself up. So that's good that you're recognizing that it's like, okay, I'm not being nice to myself. And I heard a person say, when you're beating yourself up, you should ask yourself, would I say this to my child? Like, this thing that I'm saying, would I say this to my child? Or if you don't have children, would I say this to my best friend? And if the answer is no, then why on earth are you saying it to yourself, right? Like, why would you do that? It doesn't help anybody if you do that. And it certainly doesn't help you. And it certainly won't help your weight loss situation. I can tell you that for sure. When you start being nicer to yourself and you start forgiving yourself and not even beating yourself up in the first place, that's when I feel like I really started to be even more consistent, because it was like, oh, I don't have to feel bad. Like, every time I would like overeat, because this happened. I mean, like, especially when I went to OMAD, I had a lot more times where it was like, oh wow, I really ate way too much, like at that meal. And it was just a process of like, okay, wait, that was a little too much. Okay, that wasn't quite enough. And instead of just beating myself up, I would just say, okay, I just need to recognize, like, that was a little bit too much. Next time, let's try to do slightly better. And just try to do slightly better every time. And being really, really, really nice to yourself is really, really important. Teresa, you said, I tend to overcomplicate diets. I set all these rules I need to follow. That, and the thing is, when you have so many rules, it's so hard to keep track. Like, how do you really know that you're really following your plan, right? Like, when you have all these rules, and that's why I just tried to make it really, really easy, because I really wanted to know, am I on plan or not? Because, like, in 2015, for example, I was keeping track in this spreadsheet. At first, I was just doing my measurements. Like, from 2014 on, I took my measurements, right? And then I started making these notes in the column, like in a side column, like, oh, well, here's what I'm doing this week, you know. And if you start to look, it's like I was changing what I was doing constantly. Like, oh, I started IF. Oh, I quit IF. You know, intermittent fasting. I'm going to. I'm running 3 miles a day. And then I'd stop running 3 miles a day. Oh, intermittent fasting is not working. I'm gonna go do this other thing, and I'm gonna count calories, and now I'm not gonna count calories, and now I'm gonna, and it was just. I was doing, all this different stuff. I wasn't being consistent with any of it. When I started to realize, like, wow, I am switching plans all the time. Like, how do I even know really what's working? When I started to see, like, intermittent fasting was something I kept coming back to, right? It was like, okay, so if I keep coming back to it, that really means that I probably have hit on something there. And then just, like, when I really set it down and really started to be like, okay, here are my rules, and my rules are really, really, really simple. Then it was very easy. Like, I could easily tell you, did I stick to plan or not today? Because really the only rule was, did you intermittent fast today? If it's Monday through Saturday, did you practice intermittent fasting today? If the answer is yes, I was sticking to my plan. And then there's, cheat day was just cheat day, so that's really easy. And then, getting 6 miles a day, that's really easy. So yeah, okay, let's see. Marianne, you asked, do your meals vary every day? Yes. Well, okay, you might have meant, does my meal vary every day? So, like, no, I eat supper only, with very, very few. I've never actually moved my OMAD to any other part of the day. My OMAD is always at, like, supper time, 6. Sometimes it's earlier, sometimes it's later. But if I ever am in a situation where, like, there's a social event or something, it's like at lunchtime, I'll eat lunch and then I'll eat supper. That's how I do it. So yes, they vary. And then as far as what I actually eat on a day-to-day basis, yes, that varies too. I tend to eat higher carb. I don't do keto at all. I don't restrict any kind of foods. The only thing I don't eat pork, and I don't eat shellfish, but that's for religious reasons, not for, any kind of dietary reasons. Let's see, Carlene, you asked, with all the interviews you have done and the many people you encountered that do intermittent fasting, do you find that a person's age makes any difference in progress? I have not. But, well, no. I would say, here's what I've really found. Most people are losing not nearly as quickly as we think that they're losing. Like, for whatever reason, in my mind, I thought a good rate of weight loss, like, as far as, like, what most people lost, I was like 5 pounds a week. Like, because when I was 222 pounds, I expected 5 pounds a week. Like, I am working my butt off in the gym, I'm going to drop that weight. Just didn't happen for me. About a pound a week. Some people lose like 2 pounds a week, maybe, but that's, like, and so I would say, and then some people lose even slower. I think a lot of times what can happen is people kind of say, well, oh, since I'm older, it won't work, or they have, like, a lot of these things, and, like, these mental things that are going on that kind of, like, makes it hard for them to be consistent. But I've talked to people, and not just in my interviews, but because a lot of people in my interviews, actually, now that I kind of run it through my head, have been 50s and I think 60s even. So but even some people that have just contacted me privately, they're not commenting publicly, they are 60s, 70s, and having fine results. And so I think it's more about, don't worry about age. Don't let it be a factor. Just say, this is going to work. And so that's what I would say. I don't think that it really makes too much of a difference. I mean, and now your metabolism slightly slows down, but even according to what I read, because I did go and research that some, from what I looked at, it looked like really it gets overblown as far as like in articles and stuff. They try to make it sound like it's this huge difference, and it's really not. So, and I think that's a shame, because I think a lot of people think, oh well, it's hopeless for me, because if I'm overweight, then and if I'm at a certain age, then I really can't lose. Like, it's just like this, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. A lot of times I think that happens. It's like they just think, oh well, I can't, and then, or it won't happen. So okay, let's see. Darlene, it was a family farm. We grew things for the family to eat. Had a lot of cows and sheep and chickens. My grandparents lived there with my 2 aunts and uncles and my immediate family. Mostly woods. I loved walking in the woods when I was young. We had 9 kids on the farm. My 2 brothers. Wow. So you had a nice family compound there. It sounds like that's neat. That is super cool. So yeah, that is such a neat life. I think when you're hey Enid, I'm glad you're here. Like growing up on a farm, which I grew up on a different kind of farm than you did, but that is neat. Like when you can live off the land and everything. So you're resting after your OMAD. Hey, yeah, I had an OMAD too. It was really good. Tonight it was well, I don't even know what to call it. I kind of modified a recipe, but it was this Rachel Ray recipe called creamy spaghetti with beans, but we didn't have any beans, so it was just like kind of like a Parmesan sauce with turkey bacon and pasta. It was good. Okay, let's see. Michelle, you just got the kiddos in bed and you made it to the lab. It's been a while. Yes, it has. I hope you're doing well. We've been talking about the importance of making things really easy and how that gets like pushed to the side. And here's one challenge I think that a lot of us come up against is like, if you're having success, right, and then you have this other person come along and they're having, they're also losing weight or whatever, a lot of times they can like kind of almost criticize your plan or make you feel bad about your plan. Like, they'll try to make it seem like, oh well, if you would do it my way, then you would have lost even more weight. And instead, I would encourage you, just stick with what works for you. Because a lot of times people, they will emphasize, the weight loss, they'll de-emphasize the difficulty. And, I would just say the more because I've just like kind of passively watched, as I've been on this journey, because now it's been like 4 years really since I really started paying close attention to what works for people, what doesn't work for people, the way the fads go in and out, and just, what people can really stick with over the long term. And there's a lot of stuff out there that people, even though they have excellent weight loss success, they have a very hard time sticking with it after they've gotten the weight off, because it's a very, very hard thing to stick with. So I'm very glad that I resisted the urge to go with the thing that seemed really hard but unsustainable. Always think about sustainability. Let's see. Henrietta. Oh, Henrietta, you're in here. Is it another sleepless night? It's 2:30 a.m. Down 42 pounds. Oh, and Henrietta, y'all, Henrietta is 66 years old. So, let's see, Carlene, you're the one asking about age. Henrietta is 66 years old, and she is down 42 pounds, and she's a rock star, basically. So, so she's great. So, yes, you can get the weight off if you are, it doesn't really matter your age, I would say. Let's see. Enid, you made fettuccine Alfredo, mixed nuts, a plum, mandarin orange, sea salt potato chips, and 3 Toblerone. Oh, I love Toblerone. That's so good. Yeah, that is really good. Oh, that sounds like an excellent meal. I'm jealous. Let's see. Michelle, yeah, you're very careful about who you tell. Even about intermittent fast, or OMAD especially, yeah. And see, that was something I kept it under wraps. I think really, especially my my family, my out-of-state family at the time, who was living in Georgia, I really didn't tell them what I was doing. Or at least I don't think I did. I don't really think they knew, because I wasn't confident yet. I mean, it took me of like by the time I finally got down to like 157, that was November 2016. I was finally starting to feel confident about telling people how I lost. It took me a whole other year before I could start this channel and say, like, okay, I did this and I maintained the loss, so now I feel comfortable like sharing this with the world. Yeah, so Teresa, age has made a difference. Listening to your body. Yeah, and I think that is really, really interesting. Like, just learning, your body, and that's something I've wondered about for myself, because people will ask, like, will you ever go back to eating 3 meals a day? And I thought about that a lot, like, to go back to the kids. At first I thought, like, when I first started intermittent fasting, I thought this will be very temporary, because I really want to get back to eating 3 meals a day, so that, like, I model that for my children. And then, the longer I've gone with this, like, but my body feels better doing it this way. Like, eating once a day, or maybe twice, but really I feel the best eating once a day. I'm going to stick with that, and I'm going to listen to my body. If my body ever says, hey, you need to be eating 3 meals a day, I will eat 3 meals a day, but it's all about learning that. And then also, I think it's important to teach your kids that, like, listen to your body. Your body will tell you when you're hungry, right? So yeah, that's something that I think is important. So Enid, you're not interested in vegetables right now, and that is fascinating, because, like, so you are the type that would eat salad, right? And then that's interesting. And I love that at least some doctors and stuff now are good with intermittent fasting, because to me, like, it seems like, and I've like, in a lot of the interviews I've done, people have talked about, the medical things, like, because they'll go to the doctor and talk to their doctor and stuff about intermittent fasting. And so it's really interesting to me that there are some physicians and stuff that, like, have no clue like what intermittent fasting is, or they think it's super extreme, or it's just very interesting that there's that kind of disconnect for some. But then there are others who are really, fine with it. So I think that's great. Oh, you're not walking 6 miles. Well, I think you do what you can when you can. But man, I'm thirsty. That thing that I had tonight actually had a good bit of salt in it, I think. So you know what that means for tomorrow's weigh-in? there will be a higher number, I'm sure. Let's see, Henrietta, I don't seem to need so much sleep. Is this energy thing normal? I'm never tired. I've got to work in 6 hours. That's right, you're a hairdresser. Henrietta, that is something I certainly experience. I mean, there are occasions, and I have seen, it's almost like this, it's almost like a pattern, I feel like, with my sleep. Like, there are times that most of the time I only need, like, 6 hours. Sometimes it's only 5 hours of sleep, and I'll wake up and I'm ready to go. And there's, like, no going back to sleep. It's just like, once I'm up, I'm up. Now, when the time changed, and we've also been crossing time zones, so, like, now I'm actually sleeping a little bit later. But intermittent fasting has been one of those things, because I used to sleep, oh gosh, 10, sometimes even 12 hours before I really felt like I could get up and get started on my day. And now, it almost freaked me out at first, because it was like, I need to sleep more than that. Like, I can't just sleep 6 hours, but it's a thing with intermittent fasting too. A lot of people experience this, like, this, they don't need as much sleep, which I find very fascinating. So, Darren, so your doctor was fine with time restricted eating, but when I said intermittent fasting, he said, no, you shouldn't do it. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. I don't, See that. Oh well, that's really funny. That is funny. So okay, yeah, Enid. Ooh, some delicious water here. Uh, so you sleep till 7. So you sleep 7, and it used to be 9. Yeah, that I think that is super interesting though. Like, what is the mechanism? I wondered, is it? At first I thought maybe it's just because I've lost weight, but I think it's really intermittent fasting specific, and I didn't need as much sleep either with during my extended fast that I just did, um, which is also interesting. Uh, let's see. Oh, hey Kim, I'm glad here. Nicole, you asked how much water do I drink every day? It depends on the day, it depends on my activity level, it depends on the humidity outside, but basically I just drink when I'm thirsty, and that's it. Like, I don't push fluids. If I'm feeling, if I ever notice, like, wow, I'm feeling, thirsty. I try to make sure that I'm well hydrated, but I don't really like sit there and say, "Oh, I gotta down this bottle of water." I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna drink water. I don't measure it, and it really, like I said, it depends. There are times where I'm thirstier, like right now, after that salty meal, I'm thirsty. Let's see, Nancy. I think most doctors have studied about fasting and cannot recommend it. Maybe them the benefits when they see ours. That's my hope, Nancy. Is that enough people will tell their doctors, and the doctors will see the results. Well, like just the out and out, like this person used to be obese, and now they are healthy, and they're and like how can you argue with that? Is what I would wonder, but they also have to be very careful about what they recommend, and my understanding is it's very hard for them to depart from the kind of the party line as far as if there is something that is recommended by certain groups, they have to just go with that. And so I hope though that can change. And the thing is, I think a lot of us feel like scared to even tell that. I know certainly, like, I don't go to the doctor really unless I'm just at death's door. But my fear was if I ever went to the doctor and told them what I was doing, even though I was having results, that they would be like, oh, well, that's unhealthy, and then I would quit. So I went ahead and just got the weight off, and then I didn't have to deal with that. So, uh, yeah, you said it's like it took far more energy to adult when you were fat. And I don't like to use that word, but yeah, like the mental load that has been taken off of my mind because I've lost the weight. Like, I'm not having to sit here worrying about being obese. I don't, like, it's just not even a thing in my life. Like, I fit into seats, and I don't have to be like, wait, what's the weight limit on this thing? Like, sitting in an elevator and you're like, wait, let me see if everybody in here, I don't think about these things anymore. I don't worry about, like, what should I be eating? Like, like, do I need to eat, bread or not bread, or like eggs or butter, and, like, what is the thing? What are the rules? And, like, all that. It's like, wow, my mind's a lot clearer now. So, Darren, you're down 55 pounds with fasting and keto. Your doctor is going to be in for a shock. Yeah. Yeah, and maybe it will. I certainly hope, I really, really hope that it will change people's minds. Fingers crossed. Marianne, you said no pressure. Do you have a before and after photo of your progress on one of your videos? Yes. Well, let's see. If you look at my how I lost 65 pounds video with intermittent fasting, that one's the one that's got the most views on my channel. But that's got my before and after when I had lost 65 pounds, but now I've lost over 80. So on that, you can go to my website, sixmilestosuffer.com, and it's got the before and after on there. And yeah, so hopefully my husband will post. Hopefully he'll post like the link. Yeah. Okay, so Kim, you're almost 46 hours fasted now and couldn't do without my tea. Only 2 5-minute hunger bouts, and tea makes it easy to ignore. That is interesting about like the timing your hunger. It's not something I ever did. Like, my strategy was to just, like, if I felt hungry, I would just go get busy doing something else. And the hunger, like, I would realize later, like, oh, I don't even feel hungry anymore. But I think it's interesting to really time your hunger and just see how long does it last before you don't feel it anymore. That idea, I've seen a couple of different places about like how it goes. Your hunger comes in waves, and then it leaves. And so I think that's an interesting kind of way to monitor it, because I think really, if you start to say like, oh, this only lasts for 5 minutes, like if I can just make it through 5 minutes, the hunger's going to be gone. I think that could be really helpful for people. So thank you for adding that. Let's see. Michelle, so I was wondering how long it took you to adjust to being hungry with OMAD, or how long till you didn't feel so hungry anymore. Some days are better than others, but I still feel it. Maybe it's normal. Okay. So, first of all, with intermittent fasting, I went really slow, like really, really slow. I was starting out with really short fasting windows, and then I pushed it out very gradually as I felt comfortable. It it was barely pushing it out when I would be like, okay, like maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, and I would get really used to that window before I tried to push it out further. When I went to OMAD, I was very used to fasting, and OMAD was its own challenge because trying to eat 1 meal, like figure out that point where I'm not overly full, but I'm not going to be hungry the next day. That took some doing, and it took a lot of patience, and it took a lot of really paying attention to how I was feeling and just learning that sweet spot. It took time. Also, though, when you're talking about feeling hunger, one big thing for me was when I started to really notice the different kinds of hunger. Because there's all different kinds of hunger. There are reasons you may feel hungry, like, for example, you're tired or you're stressed. My big one was stress, okay? Like, I would feel hungry. It would be my fasting window. And I would think, why am I feeling hungry right now? And I would realize I was stressed. Like, the hunger would come out of nowhere. Like why? Oh, we just had a budget meeting. And, like, I'd be worried about money or something like that. And so when I started to notice that link, like, okay, not really hungry here. It feels like hunger. Okay, for me, it felt just like hunger. It was like, give me a Snickers bar right now because I am hungry. But when I really started to realize this is stress. Okay, so how do I deal with the stress? Like, I can't eat right now. When I started to say, okay, I'm going to deal with this in a different way. Like, I'm going to figure out how to take action on it. That always helps me. So, like, if it was money, I would be like, okay, I'm going to get the budget. I'm going to really look at our budget, or I'm going to earn some extra income with some, work from home kind of stuff, and do that type of thing. That really helped me. And so then when I really started dealing with all of my stress in different kinds of ways, and also boredom, too. Like, I really started filling my life up with other kinds of interests, because I have 3 kids, and a lot of times, or well, what happened to me at least was like I had kind of abandoned all my hobbies, all my interests, like when I had kids, and I would feel so guilty if I gave myself time to just sit there and read a book or draw a picture or do whatever. And when I started giving myself permission to just do those things, like if I'm feeling hungry, I would say, okay, I'm not going to eat right now. Normally I would eat, so it, like, gave me permission. Like, normally I'd be sitting here eating anyway, so I give myself permission to sit here and read or draw or learn sign language or whatever the thing was that I was doing. So that's what helped me. Oh, and if I was tired, that was another reason I would get really, like, I would start to feel hungry. if I said, hey, do you need a nap? I'd lay down and take a nap if I needed one. So those are the things that help me to deal with hunger. Okay, Ramos, do you eat sweets like cake, ice cream, etc.? Yes, I do. I eat it whenever I crave it. I don't crave it as often as I used to. In the beginning of all of this, like when I really, truly told myself, there are no forbidden foods. You can eat whatever you want. You can eat however much you want. Once your eating window opens, you can eat ice cream. Like if you want ice cream, you can eat as much ice cream as you want and all that. When I really gave myself permission to do that, I started realizing like it wasn't like it was like, wait, why do I not care about this as much anymore? And I really think it was because it was just allowed and it was like not a thing. So over time, I've really started to learn what do I really like, what do I not really like, because there's some stuff that I used to like way overdo it on that I don't even enjoy, as it turns out. Just like Chips Ahoy cookies, like in the blue box or whatever. I don't enjoy them. Like I can sit there and like, okay, kids, y'all can have them, but I don't care, because I just don't like the way they taste. I love homemade chocolate chip cookies, and I will eat those, and I do enjoy them still. So I'm always I try to be very careful when I explain that to people, because I really don't want people to think, oh, well, now I don't eat sweets. I still eat sweets, and I really enjoy sweets. Some people say that they don't enjoy sweets, and that's not me, okay? Like, I love certain sweets. Cheesecake and all, like ice cream, like especially like Ben and Jerry's, any kind of like really good ice cream, I enjoy it. So, Julie, you asked, do you have any recommendations for really good scales? Okay, I'm like the worst one to ask because I have a cheapo scale. It's called like Healthometer or something. I got it at Walmart, and I think it was like $19 or something like that. I think you can get them on Amazon. I think they're more expensive on Amazon, but the point is, it's a plain Jane, like it just has the weight. Okay, it doesn't do body fat. It doesn't do any of that like fancy stuff. It's not Wi-Fi enabled. Now, some people love their scales, and it tells them all the different like the body fat and all that. I chose not to go that route just because I wanted it to be really simple. And my understanding is that the body fat percentage calculator thing can be pretty inaccurate. So that's why I just said, hey, I'll just get the cheap thing. So that is that. Okay. And it looks like we are running a little bit out of time. We've got a few more minutes. So your Nicole, you said your endocrinologist was very supportive of intermittent fasting after you told him how much weight you lost. So that is interesting. Oh, and he went to a convention and it was a topic. So maybe the word is getting out. That's what I hope. Because I know a lot of people think, oh, it's like, like it's almost like doctors are trying to keep us sick. I don't think that's it. I think it's just the information is flowing slowly. Like it flows slowly into conventions and stuff. And so hopefully, because I think most doctors out there are very fantastic people that really do want to help. I think most people become doctors because they want to help. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, and distracting yourself. Enid, that was great. Like playing Sims, doing housework. Anything to keep yourself busy too. I probably didn't even say keep yourself busy, but yeah, that was very, very key in the beginning, was just distract myself, like just do anything else besides eat, like just like do anything besides eat. That's it. So yeah, let's see. Right, okay, all right. I think that is it for tonight. Again, thank you for all of you who've purchased my book and who have left honest reviews on Amazon. I appreciate that. It helps those people who may see the book but have never seen my channel. It can help them be confident. So thank you for doing that, for taking the time. I know that takes time and effort, so I appreciate it a whole lot. Be sure to join the Facebook group if you would like more support. It's a great group of encouraging people. No diet dogma is allowed in there, so don't feel bad. Like if you eat all the foods like I do, you're going to be welcome. There are people in there who do keto, but they're super friendly about it. They're not like, you got to eat keto, It's all live and let live. It's all about what everybody else can be really successful with. So thank you for joining me. Sorry we had some technical issues, but I will see you guys next week, same time, same channel, and I will see you then. Oh.